Hi everyone. Today I'm going to keep explaining some of the different tools on the Baumer Verisens software. This time I'm going to be explaining the distance tool, and this is going to measure the distance between two different edges. Um, the first thing I did was set up a part location on contours tool, and you can see a previous video on how to do that. And I'm looking for this shape, this wrench shape. You can see that here, that's what it's looking for. And it's going to pick up that wrench and its orientation no matter where it is within the image. So the next step, once I've done that, is going to be to add a geometry distance tool here. So you go to the geometry tab, you double click on the distance, and then you're going to be able to drag two different arrows. So the first one I'm going to put there, the second one I'm going to put there. So now you can see it's looking for the distance, I'll zoom in a little, between those 2 points, between points A and B. In this case, I don't want the point-to-point distance because you can see if this changes, this edge changes, you're going to change your distance. What I'm going to want is a rectangular distance, which is going to be the shortest distance or the perpendicular distance between this edge and this edge. And so that's going to give me the width of this wrench handle, which is what I was looking for in the first place. And so if I zoom out, you can see because this is tracking position based on part location on contours 1, which is the first tool, it's going to always be fixtured to that tool. So if the wrench moves, the part location tool is going to pick it up, and it's going to move the distance tools with it so that you're always measuring the width of this handle. So let's take a look here. If I move it that way, you can see the arrows moved as well. You can see the arrows moved here. And again, we're measuring the distance of this handle, and right now we're at 85 pixels. 85 pixels wide, and again 85 pixels wide. So no matter which way the wrench moves, because I have this fixtured off that part location tool, this tool is also going to move with it, which is awesome. Down here you can see we have two different tolerance bars. The first one is your lower tolerance, and the second one is your upper tolerance. So if you want a really tight tolerance and you need that wrench handle to be very precise, you can adjust these to be very close so you don't have a lot of room. So right now anything below, let's say 83 pixels and above 86 pixels is going to fail, which is super tight. Or you can have it bigger. It just depends on the application and how tight your tolerances are. Again, so that's rectangular distance. We had point-to-point distance. We had to reference, which is just going to be a one arrow. So you're going to train it in on your original part, and then every other part that comes down is going to be measured as how far away from that original part you were. So that's to reference, edge to circle. So now you're going to have a chance to find a circle and circle to circle. So like if you had two different circles. In this case we don't have that, so we don't need that. I was looking for the rectangular distance. Looks like I'm going to have to redraw these arrows. So the first one I'm going to be looking for is there. Second one is there. And I'm going to have to reteach that in because it was looking for something else. So again, 85 pixels is the distance, is the width of this wrench handle. A couple other things here. So for each edge, and this goes for all of these different calculation methods, for each edge you can pick if you want a short edge or a normal edge or a long edge. Typically if it's a nice long edge like this, you want to put it long so it doesn't pick up noise. So if I zoom in here, you can see, I'm going to turn this off. It's kind of hard to see right here, but there's like a green line that extends from here to here, and that's your long edge. If I change that to short, that edge becomes much shorter. So it's picking up even short edges. For for long, it has to be a pretty good size length edge for it to pick it up, which helps for eliminating noise. So if you had like little specks out here and you had it at short, it might pick those specks up as an edge, or like little fuzzes or stuff. Whereas if you can put it at long, and then it's going to eliminate a lot of the noise that you could pick up that could mess up your measurements. Translation, this is where you can figure out if you want it to be light to dark, dark to light, or both directions. In this case, it's both directions, but really we could put that as bright to dark. And so it's even if you drag this edge way down here, it's not going to pick up this edge because that's going dark to light. In this case, this is edge B, and we can make that long as well, and we can make that light or bright to dark. And then here, this last section here is how much of a contrast you need between the edges. So right now we have enormous contrast because this is perfectly white and this is perfectly black. But if it's low contrast, let's say this was gray and this was a little darker gray, then you're going to have to keep this at low contrast. Right now we can keep it at high contrast to eliminate noise, or normal contrast, whatever you want. That's really all there is to this tool. Like I said, there's different calculation methods. One more thing. So right now you can change it to pixels or percent. Percent being off of your trained taught image. So right now it's 100%. If it was a little bigger, it'd be maybe 101 or 102%, or smaller, like 99% of your original taught image. If you were to go back here into the adjust image, and I have a video on this, to go into the coordinates section, you can train like a grid pattern into the camera. And so you could say from here, let's say to here is 5 inches. Then it'll assign each pixel a weight. And here in the help section you can see it'll walk you through how to do it. This is what I'm talking about, a grid pattern. And it'll assign each pixel a weight in millimeters. And then if you were to go through that process and you go back to check features and distance, there'll be a third option or fourth option here for millimeters and inches, and it'll automatically do that based on the coordinates you taught in. And that's really all there is to this tool.